You didn't notice when it started. It happened quietly. Every time you said it's fine when it wasn't. Every time you made yourself smaller just to keep their love big. This isn't a story about heartbreak. It's about what happens when love becomes the reason you disappear. You ever notice how the people you love most are often the ones you start disappearing for? One day you're vibrant, loud, opinionated. Then slowly, almost politely, you start to dim the parts of you that might feel like too much. You say you're just being considerate, but deep down you know you're shrinking. That's how self-loss begins, quietly, in the name of love. We call it devotion, compromise, maturity. But let's be honest. Sometimes what we call love is just the art of abandoning ourselves beautifully. Today we're going to break that pattern, not by becoming colder or detached, but by learning how to love without losing who you are. Because the real tragedy isn't heartbreak. It's disappearing while someone still says they love you. When you fall in love, your brain floods with dopamine and oxytocin. It feels like safety, like finally being chosen. But here's the catch. Oxytocin can't tell the difference between love and dependency. It rewards closeness even when it hurts you. That's why walking away from the wrong person feels like withdrawal. It's biology, not weakness. And if you've ever wondered why your heart aches even when you know they're not good for you, this is why. Stay with me. This part changes everything. According to a 2019 study by UC Berkeley, couples who regularly engage in self-expansion activities report 37% higher relationship satisfaction. Psychologists Arthur and Elaine Aron call this the self-expansion theory. Real love inspires growth. It makes your world bigger, not smaller. When a relationship limits your curiosity, creativity, or goals, your brain literally registers it as contraction, not connection. In one study from the University of Toronto, people who lost their individuality in relationships reported a 33% drop in self-esteem and higher anxiety over time. So when you protect your identity, you're not being selfish. You're being psychologically healthy. You call it compromise, but really it's camouflage. The truth is, people fall in love with the light you emit when you are fully yourself. But the moment you dim that light to keep them comfortable, you teach them to love your shadow instead of your sun. Love isn't supposed to require self-erasure. If someone's affection depends on your silence, that isn't love, it's control. When two people connect, their brains mirror each other. Mirror neurons allow us to feel what the other feels. That's empathy. But there's another system at play, the vagus nerve. When two people feel emotionally safe, their nervous systems sync through that nerve. It slows your heartbeat, softens your tone, regulates your breathing. That's why peace feels magnetic. Your body literally knows when it's safe to love. So if you're constantly anxious around someone, your nervous system is telling you the truth your heart refuses to hear. You can fake calm, but your body always knows. Remember this. Peace that costs your identity isn't peace, it's paralysis. Some of you mistake chemistry for destiny. You think anxiety means passion. You chase emotional chaos because somewhere in your past, chaos felt like home. Your nervous system equates unpredictability with excitement. But love isn't supposed to feel like survival. It's supposed to feel like exhale. When you meet someone who brings calm instead of adrenaline, your body might call it boring. It's not. It's healing. The absence of danger can feel empty if all you've ever known is tension. Stay with me. This matters. Your brain is wired for patterns. It will repeat the familiar until you interrupt it with awareness. Let me tell you about Lena. She used to be that woman everyone envied, career on track, full of laughter. Then she met someone who made her feel seen at first. He adored her energy until it started outshining his. Slowly, his compliments became corrections. Maybe don't talk so much at dinner. You're intimidating when you lead. She told herself he just needed reassurance. Months passed, and she became smaller, quieter, tired. The mirror still showed her face, but her eyes looked foreign. One morning, she realized she had stopped playing the music she loved because he called it noise. That was the day she packed her things, not in anger, but in clarity. She said, "If love requires me to silence my song, I'd rather learn to sing alone. Years later, she said leaving wasn't the hardest part. Remembering her rhythm was. Lena's story isn't rare. It's millions of quiet disappearances happening every day in the name of love. But every time you choose truth over performance, your brain rewires. Neuroplasticity means healing isn't abstract, it's structural. Each act of self-honesty strengthens new neural pathways. That's why growth hurts. It's your brain building freedom. You can't find the right person while you're still disappearing for the wrong ones. When you start setting boundaries, some people will call you difficult. That's okay. Boundaries don't chase people away. They filter who is never meant to stay. It's funny how silence suddenly makes you attractive again. The moment you stop over-explaining, others suddenly respect your space. That's not magic. That's self-respect becoming visible. Now, let's get practical. 3 micro-practices to help you stay yourself while you love deeply. 1. Journaling for alignment. Each week, ask, what did I over-adjust? Write down every moment you edited your truth. Seeing it on paper exposes the pattern before it becomes your personality. 2. Time audit. Check your calendar. Does it reflect your values or your avoidance? Healthy love doesn't consume every hour. It coexists with purpose. 3. Boundary check. Notice your yes. If it carries resentment, that wasn't kindness, it was self-betrayal. Small awareness moments create big identity returns. Remember, love expands through honesty, not compliance. Stay with me, because this next story will show you the other side. Ethan thought he'd mastered love. He was the dependable one, the planner, the fixer. His girlfriend said she loved how safe he made her feel, and he clung to that word safe, like oxygen. But over time, safe turned into predictable, and predictable turned into invisible. When she left, he said, I did everything right. What he didn't realize was that he'd spent years being useful instead of being real. He avoided conflict by agreeing too quickly, avoided rejection by staying agreeable. He confused peace with absence of truth. One night, while unpacking boxes alone, he found a notebook where she'd written, You're kind, but I don't know what you want. That line broke him open. He realized love built on accommodation dies quietly from boredom. Ethan rebuilt by doing something radical. He started saying no. No to plans he didn't want. No to apologizing for his ambition. No to shrinking in rooms that once made him small. And every no gave birth to a stronger yes to himself. A year later he said, I didn't lose her. I found me. That's the rebuild phase. You learn that self-respect is the backbone of intimacy. You learn that passion rooted in equality burns longer than passion born from power imbalance. And you discover that love is not measured by how much you sacrifice, but by how much truth it can hold without breaking. Here's how to rebuild yourself after you've lost you in love. Step 1. Reintroduce your rituals. What did you love before them? Music, art, movement, return there. Your brain associates those routines with autonomy. It resets dopamine balance. Step 2. Reclaim your voice. Speak even when your words shake. Confident tone isn't born from certainty, but from repetition. Step 3. Redefine love. Write a list that starts with love feels like and finish with sensations, not fantasies, warmth, laughter, stillness, curiosity. Then refuse anything that doesn't match that vibration. You'll want to remember this. Confidence isn't about control, it's about congruence. Your inner world matching your outer actions. When you detach from needing approval, you regain emotional leverage. Your energy stops leaking through overthinking. According to the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, people who maintain personal goals within relationships experience higher autonomy satisfaction and long-term attraction. Translation: independence isn't distance, it's magnetism. You can be interdependent without being invisible. You can be soft without losing your shape. The balance isn't between giving and taking. It's between merging and remembering. Sometimes you'll have to love people from a distance, not because you stopped caring, but because they kept shrinking your world. The hardest part of healing is accepting that peace can feel lonely at first. Your nervous system misses the noise. But quiet isn't emptiness, It's clarity. Here's a truth that might sting. We often stay in draining relationships because they validate an old identity, the one that felt needed, responsible, or rescuing. You learn to earn love by fixing chaos. But real love doesn't need a savior. It needs a partner. Stop trying to heal people who enjoy being broken. Stay with me, because this is where you rise. Emotional freedom begins when you stop negotiating your worth. You don't need to prove you're easy to love. You need to believe you're worth peaceful love. That belief alone changes posture, voice, choices. Confidence isn't loud. It's consistent. Your body keeps score. When you stop abandoning yourself, your sleep improves, your tone softens, your creativity returns. The vagus nerve stabilizes, heart rate steadies, cortisol drops. Healing is measurable. You're not imagining it. Your biology confirms it. And still, some nights you'll miss the chaos. That's normal. Recovery always craves relapse. When that happens, remind yourself. Missing peace for drama is like craving poison because it once tasted familiar. You've outgrown survival love. Let's talk science one last time. Studies show that secure attachment develops from consistent self-soothing. When you learn to comfort yourself, your brain stops outsourcing stability. That's when relationships stop being cages and start being choices. The version of you that can love deeply without disappearing is built in solitude. Alone time isn't punishment, it's preparation. So, how do you keep yourself alive inside love? You practice presence without performance. You tell the truth faster. You celebrate your wins, even if they make others uncomfortable. You build friendships that don't revolve around your pain. You become the safe space you keep searching for. Love that expands you will challenge you, but never confuse you. It will ask questions, not demand obedience. It will celebrate your growth, not compete with it. Real love will look you in the eye and say, stay. Don't shrink. If this message resonates, hit subscribe. Join the movement of people choosing love without self-loss. Share this with someone who needs to hear that peace isn't boring. It's power. Now, let's close the loop. Maybe the people who said you were too much just lack the capacity to receive all that you are. You're not intense. You're alive. And life, in its fullness, will always intimidate those still living small. So what if you stopped apologizing for being whole? What if the next time someone asked you to tone down, you smiled and said, "This is my natural volume"? Pause here. Ask yourself, when was the last time you felt fully yourself with someone? Did you laugh freely? Dream out loud? Or did you monitor every word like walking on glass? The answer tells you whether you're loved or managed. Love shouldn't feel like self-management. It should feel like expansion. That's the self-expansion theory in action. Every healthy bond adds chapters to your story, not footnotes. Peace, stability, freedom, these are not luxuries. They're the natural state of love that's secure. When two people operate from safety, their vagus nerves calm the body. That's what love actually feels like on a biological level. Safety so deep the body exhales. Every time you choose honesty over performance, every time you speak instead of shrink, you're literally reprogramming your brain. Neuroplasticity ensures that repetition becomes identity. You're not pretending to be strong, you're becoming it. And one day, someone will meet you there. They won't be impressed by your silence. They'll be in awe of your voice. They won't need you smaller. They'll need you real. That's partnership, not possession. Maybe the point was never to find someone who stays, but to become someone who never leaves themselves. You don't need to chase being chosen anymore. You're the chooser now. The more you honor that truth, the more peace starts to look like love, and love, finally, looks like home. Welcome back to yourself.